Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to be talking about how to do variable data in Adobe Illustrator. Now in some of my previous videos I've touched on how to do variable data with Adobe InDesign, and I think in a future video I'll show how to do the same thing with using Adobe Photoshop, excuse me. But today we're going to be talking about how to do this in Illustrator. So in front of me I have a AI file that I've already created here, and this is going to be for basically a little table card for a wedding reception. We're going to have 4 different items here that are going to be variable, and then these items here are all static in the background. If I look at my layers, I've created 2 different layers here. One for that I've named artwork for all the static elements, and then one here for the actual variable text and images here. And all these are 3 different text boxes. These text boxes are all aligned center for the paragraph, and then I've centered them up on the sheet. The last thing here is this little icon, which you just can go to File, Place, and I have 3 different PNG files. These are associated with the person's meal choice, so you'll have this appearing under their meal choice right here. A chicken for chicken, fish for fish, etc. So a very simple setup for the actual Illustrator file. Those are the items that we're going to be using for the variable data. Once you have your design set up, now you're going to go ahead and you need to create your data set. I use Google Sheets for my data set. There are 4 columns of data here: name, table, the meal choice, and then the icon for the meal. You'll notice that on the icon for the meal here, it has the @ symbol at the beginning. If it's going to be a placement of a photo or a PDF, a JPEG, something like that, you're going to need to have to put the @ symbol at the beginning of the column. That way Illustrator understands that it's actually a linked photo and not a text field. You also have to make sure to use the absolute reference to where the file is located. In this case, since I'm using a Mac, I just right click on the actual file and I hit Get Info. And right here where it says Where, this shows you the actual reference to the exact location that the file is going to be on your computer. You can copy that and just paste it in here. Fortunately for this, I only have 3 different options, 3 different photos to choose from. If you have a big range of photos, maybe 50, 100, whatever the case may be, I would suggest setting up your data in this regard. Instead of just pasting it in, what you can do is put an equal sign, put the quotation marks here, put your absolute reference for your file, and then here, instead of naming each one of these things and copying and paste it, name it with the same thing that you have here in this column of data. So obviously I have my chicken icon is going to be chicken PNG, which is associated with the chicken meal. So everything here is spelled exactly the same as fish and same as vegetarian. That way you can just put in this reference here to the cell next to it, and you don't have to type this in or copy and paste it for the whole thing. You can just do this once, and then you can just drag this down to all the other fields, and it'll auto-populate all of these items here. And I'll show you exactly how that is if I delete the first one. So you see this one here is for chicken. If I just pull this down now, each one of these fish, vegetarian, fish, chicken, veg, etc., etc. It'll just make it go a little bit faster, especially if you have a lot of different references or if you have a ton of different fields. That way you don't have to copy and paste over and over and over and over again. So anyway, that's our data set. It's all set up now and ready to go. We just go to File, and we're going to hit Download, and we're going to go to comma separated values. This needs to be a CSV file for this to work. So if you're using Excel instead of Sheets, just make sure to save your file as a CSV and not as an actual Excel file. So I'm going to close this out. This is where I have my CSV files in my links folder here. And now back in my Illustrator file, I'm going to go up to Window, and I'm going to go all the way down here until I hit Variables. And you see I already created these, but I'm going to go ahead and let me delete this so I can show you how to do it step by step. So at first there's going to be nothing associated here, so I'm just going to go to Import, and I'm going to import that CSV file, and it was in our links folder here. Here it is right here, table sitting. So I'll hit OK, or open, excuse me. And so now it shows me the variables from the data set, and now I need to associate these items with the actual variable. So I'm going to click on this one, and this is going to be for our table. So I'll click Table here, and then down here this icon says Make Text Dynamic. And so once you click that, it'll show you right here, Object 1, the person's name, Josh Smith. Once I click here, you'll see it says Josh Smith, chicken with the meal, and then the last thing here is the icon, and you'll see this comes in as a linked file. So now all 4 of the data sets have been linked basically together. Up here you'll see that we have 10 different data sets, and if I go back to my CSV file here, you'll notice there's 10 different data sets here. The first one is our header row, and then once we get down to 11 here, so there's 10 records basically in our CSV file. So if I go back to Illustrator here, and I go data set 1, I'm just going to click off that. If I go to my arrows here that says next data set, I can just cycle through each one of these, and you'll notice that the table number changes, the person's name changes, their meal is changing, and then the icon is changing as well. And eventually we'll get back to the first record in the data set. So now everything's been linked up, we've checked everything, and we have all of our data is correct. So once I go up here to File, Save As, I can export this as a PDF. The problem is, once I hit Save, if I go back to my Finder here, if I open this up, there is only one record here. So what we're going to need to do is to output this for each record in our data set. Now you can do it in 2 ways. You can manually do it just by scrolling through and then going File, Save As, or File, Export, which obviously is okay if you just have a few. This, we're only doing 10 records for this one. But if you have many records, you're probably not going to want to do those one by one. So the way to get around this is to create an action. So if I go back to my window here and go up to Actions, I've already created this, but I'm going to go ahead and delete it. So I'm going to create a brand new action here. So down here, this little plus button says Create New Action. I'm going to click that, and I'll just call this Export Variable Data, and I'll hit Record. And now Illustrator is recording your actions. So what we're going to do is now we're going to go to File, Save As, and we're going to save it as our PDF. I'll just replace the one we just created. I'll hit Save PDF. And now we just click on the Stop button here, and now that has been recorded and the action is ready to go. So once you what you want to do is do this for all the records in the data set. So what I'm going to do here is click the little hamburger menu, and I'll just make sure that actually it doesn't even matter if that's selected or not, but I'm going to go click the little hamburger menu here, and I'm going to come all the way down to the bottom here where it says batch, and I'm going to select the action that we just created. So that's going to be in our default action set here. The action is going to be the one that we just created, export variable data. The source is going to be the data set, so it's going to look for that CSV file that's currently linked inside of the Illustrator file. The destination we're going to choose, and I already have a folder that I created here called Output PDFs. And I'm just going to check the Override Action Save As command. You can change the file name to either say just the file and number, file and the data set, or just the data set itself. I'm just going to leave it under file plus data set name. And so what this is going to do once we hit OK is it's going to go through each record in your CSV file and save it as a PDF file. The unfortunate part is it's not going to create one PDF file, it's just going to create many, which is a little bit different than doing it in InDesign, but that's the way we do it with Illustrator. So I'm going to hit OK here. Now you can see the items are changing here in the actual Illustrator file, and that's because it's going through each one of the records in the data set and it's exporting it as a PDF file. If I go back to my Finder window here, you can see each one of these are being created until we have a total of 10 different data sets. So if I open this up, each one of these are going to be one-page PDF files, and each one of them are going to contain a different record to the data set. Now if you wanted to take all of these and put them together and just make one file out of it, all you got to do is just open up the first PDF here, and then you're just going to go to File, Insert Pages, and you just go from File, and then you're just going to select the other PDF files, hit Select, just go Location After Last Page, hit OK, and now you'll have a 10-page PDF file, which I can now just do a Save As, and I'll call it, all records or something like that, and save it. So now you have a 10-page PDF file that you can send off to your printer to be printed. And if I scroll through each one of these, you can see each one of the records have changed accordingly. So back in Illustrator, if you save it, it's just going to save the file with whatever current record you're on. So if I go back to my variables here, so we're on data set 10. So if I hit save, the next time you open this, it's going to be on data set 10. And obviously you can update this by adding more fields and then coming back in here and just going to, where is it? You just go to load variable, or excuse me, where is it? Update dataset. Sorry, there it is. So you go to update dataset, and then let's say now it's 11 records or 13 records. Then if you come here, you'll notice that it has datasets all the way to 13, 14, whatever, however many records you have. So that's it. That's how you create variable data in Adobe Illustrator. If you have questions, please leave them down in the comments section below. I'm always happy to help. I'm always happy to take any kind of video suggestions that you guys might have. This is who I do it for, is for you guys. Please leave a comment, please leave a like, a share, a subscribe, all the usual stuff. If you want to support the channel more, just please check out the Patreon page, or just leave a super thanks down there. Super thanks are always greatly appreciated. Just watching the video is the best way to support. I appreciate the view. Like I said, comment if you have any questions. Otherwise, have a good one, and I'll catch you on the next one.